Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of AKP Sports Talk. As always, I'm Ari here with Korea. We've officially made it, the return of the NFL season, which we'll get into, of course, with our best bets for today. But first, a quick recap. And Korea, you maybe had the most sweat-free win on a Monday, right? Yeah, Monday, with Boston College first half plus 9.5, about as free as it gets. Florida State is yeah. What were your takeaways from your one play?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it sweat free on Monday. Obviously, that was a great winner for me on Labor Day. Like I said, I knew Boston College was obviously going to use the run game. Well, first off, that whole first quarter disaster with the game clock, I don't think really anyone knew how much time elapsed. So I think that really helped us a lot more because I think in that first quarter, that was the quickest first quarter I've ever seen. Boston College had like one drive, and then all of a sudden Florida State 3-and-outed, and then bam, was the end of the first quarter. I was like, what? But it didn't matter anyway. Boston College ended up leading after, obviously at half. I was just hoping them make it close, and I think obviously the books were just overvaluing Florida State. I think a little bit after that last game, we were talking about just Florida State. DJU, wow, yikes, yeah, like it's not looking pretty for him. Not looking pretty for Florida State right now. That was a great win for Boston College. They just really much just defined the ground game. Which is what I was hoping for. Obviously, Castellanos, he went over his rushing prop, just using the ground. Boston College pretty much just took the exact play calling from Georgia Tech. Just long drives, wasting time on the play clock, which obviously means you're forcing DJU to throw if you end up in 6, which is what happened most of the times because Florida State couldn't stop the run. So, that was just a great first half winner. Obviously, they went out right the full game. So if you got BC money line, before, all the shenanigans happened, obviously that was your great winner of Monday night, obviously. But obviously nice to see we just took the first half. And I know, Ari, you were on the first half as well. But that was a sweat-free winner for me. I know yours was getting a little sweaty, but how'd you do on Monday?
Yeah, I mean, it's looking sweat-free, through a scoreless first quarter. And then, Boston College scores 2 quick touchdowns in the first, 6 minutes of the second quarter. And that, made it a little bit more sweaty. But Florida State gets held to 2 field goals, so it's 14-6 at half. So as soon as they got held to the field goal with 2 minutes left in the half or whatever it was, if they scored a touchdown there, that would have made it 14-10. I think 14-10. So that then Boston College field goal, and I'm in trouble, but they were held to a field goal at the end of the first half, so that basically clinched it for me. So definitely a lot more sweaty than I thought it would be after the first quarter at 0-0, but I still wasn't too worried at all until 3 minutes left in the half when FSU was close to scoring a touchdown, but got held out of the end zone.
I mean, end of the first quarter, we were on top of the world. I mean, it was a 0-0 ball game. Boston College was covering the spread. Obviously, got a little sweaty for both of us, but obviously, as we mentioned, Boston College did up pretty much getting the outright win in the first half. So we didn't even have to worry about the 10-point spread. And then obviously, even though Florida State got that second field goal, it was still 14-6. So, that's obviously under 26.5. So 2 winners there for Monday. Obviously, great to see our momentum going in the right direction as we get back into the NFL. Finally, we've survived through the dog days of summer. We have finally got the favorite sport that everyone loves to bet on back on our screens tonight, the NFL. I have 2 plays for you. I will one lean and one actual play here. First, my play of the day. We're going under here. I know. You picture it, right? You're a new bettor, right? You see this total. You think, well, they have the Chiefs. They have Patrick Mahomes. They have this new guy, Xavier Worthy. They have Travis Kelce. Mr. Taylor Swift. They have all these guys, right? I mean, you look at the Ravens, right? Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews. They got Derrick Henry now. They got a big running back in the backfield. This game has to go over, right? Yeah, this game's going under. You look at who's coaching for the Chiefs, right? It's still Steve Spagnuolo. It's not any new defensive coordinator on the other side. So he's going to – and the best part is it's not like the Chiefs didn't have time to plan for this. You know how much time the Chiefs have been planning for this game? Yeah, they've been planning for this for 7 months. Okay? As soon as the celebrations ended in Arizona when they won the Super Bowl against the Niners, they saw, okay, yep, we're playing the Chiefs week 1. No, we're playing the Ravens week 1. Yep, we're going to plan for that one. Because not only do you have to deal with Lamar Jackson as a back, you have to deal with Derrick Henry. And I've been seeing Derrick Henry anytime TD and Derrick Henry over rushing yards, which is a great look. But I know that it's climbing. That juice is climbing. I was going to potentially give out Henry as an anytime TD, but it's getting close to minus 135 on some books, minus 140. And I don't really like taking an anytime TD score anywhere above like that minus 135 just because it's way too juice for me. But for me, I just like the under here. I think it's going back to our favorite system. Ari, I'm going to be talking about this system all season long. You're going to get annoyed with me. Prime time unders. It's my favorite system. It's my favorite. I love primetime unders. I love betting primetime unders because every time everyone wants to bet the over goes so high, right? It doesn't even go near the total. So you look at had this total started, I think, around like 48 or around where it is right now. It dropped down to 46 midweek, but now it's back up to 47.5. A lot of early steam coming on that under, obviously sharp action, but then I think a lot of late action, late steam, moving that total back up. As we were talking about it before, the show even started. It was 47 last night. Now it's at 47.5 with obviously some good juice on that under. I'm on that under. I got it there, at a good price, a few days ago. I still like it at 47.5. I'll take it all the way down to about 46. But I think this game is going to go under. I think this is going to be a low-scoring defensive type game. The Ravens still have, even though Mike McDonald is not the DC there, they still have talent on that defensive side of the football. These two teams know each other, obviously. They just played in the AFC Championship, but so it's not like these two teams don't know each other in terms of, how they look right now. The only two kind of new pieces offensively for the Chiefs, obviously Xavier Worthy, a big new name, obviously out of Texas, and then on the other side, Derrick Henry, as I mentioned. But I just think this game's going to be low scoring. Obviously, battle in the trenches. You have the Ravens offensive line, which is pretty much new inside the middle with, their guards and their center. So even though with all of that, I still think they can establish a pretty good run game. But obviously the Chiefs defense, one of the better defenses in the NFL, and they didn't have Chris Jones for a lot of that time. So I think now that they have their guy, Chris Jones, along with that whole pretty much defense, even though they have a couple losses, just for, free agency and whatnot. I still think this game goes under. Like I said, battle in the trenches, low scoring game. It's kind of, we talk about last year's kickoff, which was the Lions and the Chiefs, and that game went under and the Lions covered, which is why I have the Ravens +3 for some people. But I don't really like that ±3. I think that spread is, been kind of deadlocked there for a while, and I don't really like how that spread has been. And also, look, Ari, you know me. I hate betting against Patrick Mahomes. Why would you bet against that man? So I don't really want to take the spread or a side here. I just love this under at 47.5. But if I was to give out a side, I'd probably lean with the Ravens +3. Lamar Jackson as a dog in his career, 13 times, 12-1 against the spread. Very good numbers right there. He loves to cover the spread. His one loss back 5 years ago, ironically, against this same Chiefs team, spread was at 4.5 and they lost by 5. So, that was 5 years ago. Now it's 2024. So if you do like a side, if you want to take a side, I do lean the Ravens +3, but I know that's becoming such a popular dog and I don't want to bet against Mahomes. So I'm just taking this under here. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game to kick off the 2024-25 NFL season here. So I'm just taking the Ravens-Chiefs under 47.5. You can get it there. I know that total has been kind of, moving up and down, but I take it as, if it goes higher and higher, obviously take it. But if it keeps going down, I take it all the way down to about 46 and stop there. So that's my one play for tonight, the Ravens-Chiefs under. Ari, what have you cooked up? Football is finally back. And what's your first bet of the NFL season?
Yeah, you won't catch me betting against Patrick Mahomes. I'm not touching the spread. I'm just doing. I think this might be my first time ever I've pitched a same game parlay on here, which is like I like don't bet these, but first game of the season, I like these two plays, Chiefs just to win. I'm staying away from the points, just covering and all that just to win. And then Rashee Rice over receiving yards. I've seen just this morning, I saw Rice's line go from 61.5 up to 63.5, and then down 1 back to 62.5. But I think he's beating it, no matter what. Like, I think he gets, I think he could get like 70, 80 plus tonight. Marquise Brown is out tonight, and Andy Reid made comments. Like, historically, he's kind of eased rookies in, and he's made comments about him being limited potentially in terms of how much he's used. So I think it's going to be the Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce show, in the passing game. And Rashee Rice is juiced over -140 for 5.5 catches. So if he's catching 6 passes, I think he's easily passing this line at 62.5 receiving yards. We saw, I think it was like the second half of last season is when he really took off last year as a rookie. Obviously, there's been some distractions, with him off the field, obviously, but he's a full go, then that's, for better or for worse. Obviously, off the field is a different story, but he's a full go right now, and I think he's going to see a ton of targets. Again, he's juiced over 5.5 receptions, which I'm not betting on that exactly, but that line makes me more confident in him to go over the receiving yards line. And he's the type of guy that can, rip off a 34-yard, catch and run anytime he touches the ball as well. So, I was also looking at, alternate 70 plus yards for plus money as well. But for the purpose of this SGP, I'm just going with his normal line of 62.5. And then Chiefs ML, I think it's going to be a close game. But, like you said, the Ravens lost McDonald and piece on their defense. I think they're still going to be a good defense, but, we'll see if they take even a slight step back. I think the Chiefs at home, they lost, right? They lost last week in week 1 to the Lions outright. I don't see them losing, outright in this game. Again, I'm not touching the spread. I could see this game, I could see it being like I could see the Ravens covering, but I'm just taking the Chiefs ML to win, which is down to, I think, -145 last I looked, -150 in that range. And then Rashee Rice's line is about even money to go over receiving yards, put it together for plus 190. That's what I'm going with today.
Yeah, I like that play for you. We've talked about why would you bet against Mahomes? It's not even. It's more of a system at this point. Just don't bet against the guy. He always finds some way to win, whether it's from last minute heroics or whatever you want to call it. He always finds a way to win games, especially big time games in big time moments. We've seen it over and over again. So betting the Chiefs, that's it's a safe bet. It's a safe bet. Let's just call it that. Obviously, backing Mahomes at home, that's a safe bet right there. And then you mentioned Rashee Rice. Obviously, the whole with all of his stuff off the field, on the field, you mentioned, one of the better receivers last year emerging for that Chiefs receiving core that has always had some issues after Tyreek Hill got traded away. So, there hasn't been a really, again, number one outside of, Mr. Taylor Swift. So I really like Rashee Rice here. You mentioned his line has been kind of fluctuating this morning, around that 61 to 63 range. But you got it at a good price of 62.5. You mentioned his receptions line with significant juice on the over at 5.5. So, books are saying that, he's going to get targeted a lot today. And you mentioned, Rashee Rice, the talent he has is that speed, and, he has that speed to get up. As you mentioned, he can take, 20 yards, 20-yard catch and make it 40 or 50 with his speed in the open. So, I think that, plays evidence, of the over 62.5, especially with the Baltimore secondary, which has had some problems in the past. We've seen it last year in some games, especially the Rams. Matthew Stafford was just tossing the ball all over the Ravens secondary. And obviously, that's last year compared to this year, so you can't really use too much from that. But I do like Rashee Rice, obviously, to get 62.5 for you on the night. And obviously, you mentioned just backing the Chiefs. You don't want to touch aside this, as I mentioned earlier, the spread. It's still at 3. I know it's been, I think it went down to 2.5 for maybe like a day or a day and a half, maybe. But it obviously went back up to 3. So I'm not touching that spread. I just like the under. But Ari's one play, the same game parlay. Obviously, Ari mentioned this is probably I believe this is your first same game parlay on the channel with the Chiefs money line and Rashee Rice to go over his total 62.5 yards. That's where his receiving line is right now. And then my one play for tonight, just the under 47.5 between the Ravens and Chiefs. Obviously, you can find both of these plays on our Twitter below, AKP Sports Talk. We will have our full video and our full card for tonight posted momentarily. But obviously, that's going to do it for this episode. Tomorrow, big day. We got the NFL game tomorrow, obviously, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, between the Packers and Eagles. We do got some college football games tomorrow. tomorrow as well, but not the most exciting card per se. And then Saturday, so tomorrow, obviously, college football, not the most exciting card. Saturday, obviously, big time card. We have our full card for college football released tomorrow in our video for Saturday. And of course, what you've been waiting for, the arrival of card posted for Sunday slate as well. Am I back? Am I back?
Yeah,
How
you're
am I
back.
doing, Ari?
Yeah, I hear you.
Can you see me?
You're yeah, now I can.
I'm probably fading out, so I'm probably just gonna toss this to him. But oh my gosh.
No, yeah, you're good. Yeah, yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow for our best bets for the weekend for tomorrow's games, as well as college football on Saturday and the NFL on Sunday. So thank you all for watching. We'll look forward to watching the game tonight, obviously, and then we'll be back tomorrow for our best bets over the weekend.